Why am I wearing this, you may ask? For no other reason other than Max Verstappen is obviously a huge PSV fan, my favourite F1 driver, so I've got to respect the team he supports. There's no other reason. Why would there be another reason? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated as we head into a very busy couple of weeks. We are on the eve of the Champions League draw. Yes, we are finally here. It feels like it's taken its time, hasn't it? But tomorrow evening, Celtic will be in that draw for the Champions League group stages. I will be live on this channel with Ryan McGinley. We're going to do a sort of live special, kind of mini podcast, if you like, reacting to the draw, talking about all the teams in the Champions League, Celtic in this current moment in time, heading into the Champions League. So make sure to check out the channel tomorrow. I believe the draw starts, or the programme starts at 5 o'clock, so we'll probably aim to be on the air for 5 o'clock. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm looking forward to it. But it is a busy week. You know, we've got the Champions League draw tomorrow, of course. We've got our game against Dundee United on Sunday afternoon. The transfer window then ends a week tomorrow. Deadline day is next Thursday. And then following that, it's Derby Day. So we've got a very busy week or so here on the channel. And here as Celtic fans, we're going to try and cover as much of it as we can on this channel. And if you want to keep yourself informed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. That's the main thing. But today we're going to talk about some transfers. We're going to talk about some Celtic transfer news, as the title would suggest. We're going to talk about ins and outs. There's a few updates and things to talk about. A couple of departures at the club. Yeah, we've got a little bit. Strap yourself in. It's not a busy day. Tomorrow though, I'm just buzzing for tomorrow. Come on, bring it on. So as I mentioned there a moment ago, the deadline is next week. Next Thursday, the transfer window will slam shut. So what is there to expect in the next week? There's 8 days as of this recording left in the window. Are Celtic going to have much more business to cover? Well, we're going to talk about a couple of guys in this video who could leave the club, who might come into the club. We're going to talk about in a moment. We know that Hakšabanović is the main guy right now. He's the name on everybody's lips. But will Celtic make any more signings in that week? We have been linked with a central defensive midfielder, of course. We are waiting to hear more on that. Is that a sign of things to come? Does that mean that we're going to be in the market for a central defensive midfielder over the next week? I think right now it's a case of just taking it with a pinch of salt and patiently waiting. I don't think there's enough concrete evidence there to suggest that there will be a couple of guys definitely coming through the door after Hakšabanović. I hope that is the case, because I still feel like we are light in a couple of areas, and I'm sure the manager will be acknowledging that. I'm sure he spoke to the board and kind of laid down the fact that he needs a couple more players. But until there is more, I'll use the term concrete evidence again, to suggest that there will be people coming through, I think it is a case of waiting. Now, in the past couple of years, deadline day has been frantic for Celtic. You remember last year, of course, out of nowhere, Cameron Carter-Vickers, he signed on deadline day, didn't he? Jota, he signed on deadline day. Georgios Giacomakis as well. We had 3 massive signings on the deadline. Take my mind back to 2019, Lennon's full season in charge before COVID struck. I remember Frimpong coming through the door on deadline day. I'm pretty sure Mohamed El Yunusi was close to the deadline as well, and they all kind of came from nowhere. So Celtic are a club who are prone to surprising us in the latter stages of the window. I'm sure any business getting done will be done quietly as well. So all I'm saying is, keep yourself patient and just wait for the window to shut. I'm sure we might see a couple more players, maybe 1 or 2, come through the door. But we just need to wait and see, I suppose. But let's talk about the news that we can kind of go into depth about. So let's have a quick Hakšabanović update, shall we? Apparently he is in Glasgow. He's landed in the city. He's ready to sign for the club. I think we're down to the last sort of technicalities now, and amongst the transfer, a medical, maybe the finalisation of contract negotiations, etc, etc. But it looks as though the deal will be done very, very soon. Actually, I must admit to you, it's 3:25 as we record this video. I have held off all day from recording because I actually thought we would get the news today. I was hoping that Hakšabanović would have signed by now. Knowing my luck, he'll sign during this recording or after I finish. But I was hoping he would have been signed this morning. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. The medical process and such will probably be going on down at Ross Hall or wherever it may be. But apparently he is in Glasgow. So that's the main thing. This transfer looks all but finished. So hopefully it all goes smoothly. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. There's no sort of hidden injuries there that we have to worry about. I'd be shocked if there was, because he's not played a massive amount of football with the situation in Russia. So I'm hoping that deal will be done in a matter of hours or maybe tomorrow. It would be a nice wee boost going into the Champions League draw, wouldn't it, if we signed him? It'd be a really positive day. If we wake up tomorrow morning, Hakšabanović is announced as a Celtic player, then at 5 o'clock we've got the draw for the Champions League. It would be an extremely positive day to be a Celtic fan. So I'm hoping that it goes through without any issue, but apparently he's here, he's in the country, he's ready to sign, and hopefully there isn't anything that goes wrong. So that's the latest on that. You've probably heard just a quick run over some of the details again for those who might have missed it. He of course signed for Rubin Kazan last summer for a fee of £6 million. Celtic are reported to be signing him for a fraction of that price. Not exactly sure what that fraction is yet. I'd imagine we're still signing him for a few million quid. £3-4 million. I'd probably imagine it's in that sort of region, but he done really well when he played for Norrköping over in Sweden. 46 goal contributions in 76 games. He can play on the left, the right, or as an attacking midfielder, so he gives that versatility to Ange Postecoglou that we all know he likes. You know, we've got players like Jota who can play in the left and the right. We've got players who can play in the middle and on the wings. It's another player like that who can come in and fill any of those roles. He's someone who, of course, I've spoke about for years on this channel, someone I've always wanted at Celtic, but ultimately is adding firepower to what is already a very good front line for Celtic. So I mean, if we're signing him for a cut price fee, you know, we're talking £6 million he went to Rubin Kazan for after getting that kind of bigger move to West Ham a few years ago. The fact that we are managing and he favours a move to Celtic for a smaller fee, it's just a win-win all round, I think, for us, and that's the player that we're definitely in the right area with. So I'm buzzing. He's suddenly automatically probably going to walk into this team as my favourite outfield player for my history with him on this channel, but we'll take it a step at a time. We'll be patient. I'm not going to load all this expectation onto him before he's even kicked a ball, but I do have a really good feeling about Hakšabanović. I think that he can come in and be a key man for us. People keep asking who drops out of the team for him. It's a really good headache to have, and we'll see how it works as time goes on. There's a big long season ahead with European football, cup football, the league football. He's going to have more than his fair share of chances, along with every other player who's currently at the club. So we'll just wait and see. But I have a feeling this guy will pay for himself. Christopher Jullien is gone. He's finally left the club after a summer that left his Celtic career in doubt. But he's left on a permanent basis. He joins Montpellier over in France on a deal worth around £900,000. I think 850, £900,000 is what's being reported, which is of course significantly less than the £7 million that we paid for him back in 2019. But we'll talk about all of that in a moment. As a human being and for the services that he gave to Celtic and the moments he provided at Celtic, I am sad to see Jullien go. He was a real rock of a centre half. He gave us goals, he gave us moments, and generally he was a great guy, wasn't he? We all loved him, but it had to happen. This window, he had to leave Celtic, and I'm glad that he has left Celtic. It was evident that both parties were just drifting away from each other. There wasn't an interest for Ange Postecoglou to use Christopher Jullien in this team. Christopher Jullien really wanted to play football. He made that known. He spoke to, I think, the French media a couple of months ago, and he voiced his discontent at not being played and not having the opportunity, but it was never going to work for him under Ange Postecoglou, and that's the reality of it. So he has left. He's joined Montpellier for that £900,000 fee, and people will go on about that. People might dub Jullien a flop or a failure, or he didn't deliver to the money we spent on him. There will be people in that camp of things, but realistically, he couldn't have helped what happened. Nobody could have. He smacked the post, right? People go, well, he shouldn't have ran into the post like that. He tried to clear the ball off the line. He gave it his all. He ended up hitting the post. He gives himself a massive injury on top of just returning from an earlier injury as well, as I remember. Nobody could have seen it coming. He came into Celtic, peak fitness, was great. He was really good in that first season he had. It was just really unfortunate things panned out for him like that, and I don't think we can hold him to blame for that loss that we've got there on the money. You know, we've lost £6.5 million. Yes, that's not great business, but we're a club that makes up for it in other departments, and it would be different if he came in and he played like Shane Duffy did. He didn't. He came in that first season, he was arguably Player of the Year. He was up there in the conversation for that. He scored that late winner against Lazio. He won us the cup against Rangers. Ultimately, had a very stellar season with us. I was a team of the season kind of performance from him throughout the course of the cut short campaign. Nobody could have seen the injuries coming. I think it'd be harsh to dub him a flop or a failure or anything like that. He gave it his all at Celtic. He loved the club. And I thought that his career would have went a very different trajectory with us, judging off that first season. But, it's so mad because it's the domino effect, isn't it? If COVID never happened, that season wasn't ended early, then, we might have not seen him smack the post months later because life would have been different, situations would have been different. We might have not slumped into games where we were losing and having to clear the ball off the line. It's crazy how things could have changed, but he is away. And he did make a comment on his Instagram as he left the club. So on Instagram, Jullien said, "Once a Celt, forever a Celt. Some might think that I'm satisfied finishing this way. My time at the club that gave me my first championship of my career, I let them think again. I would like to thank the club for bringing me here. I came to learn what winning mentality was, and I've learned so much during so many great games." Obviously disappointed with the way that it has ended at Celtic. I think he knew that he wanted more chances and he probably thought he deserved more chances, and he probably did. But listen, let's not beat around the bush here. The move was inevitable, and there were still people in my comment sections and on live streams that would comment saying he deserves more of a chance. I'm not saying he didn't deserve a chance, but he wasn't good enough. It was clear that his time at Celtic was over. He couldn't keep up to the speed of Starfelt, Carter Vickers, now even Moritz Jens, even Stephen Welsh, I would say. As much as I love him, he had to move on, and he isn't happy with the way it's ended, rightfully so, because it started on such a high to end on a low just doesn't feel natural, doesn't feel right. But to say that it wasn't time for him to move on would be lying, and it was right. I said that this entire window, people say, you're being harsh on him. Why should we get rid of him? We got rid of him for a reason. Ange got rid of him for a reason. It was just not going to work from here. He played 16 minutes of competitive football since returning from injury. 16 minutes. If the manager thought he was good enough or thought that he was at a level to play for his system, he would have played more than 16 minutes. But even in pre-season, you could still see that he was lacking. He wasn't up to scratch. He wasn't quick enough. He still looked sluggish. And that's just the reality of returning from a massive injury like that. I understand that, but how long can you wait? And how smart is it to wait and miss out on moving him on for the best of his career? That's the question you've got to ask yourself amongst all that. So thanks for the memories is what I say to Jullien. A cracking big guy. I can't appreciate him enough. And as I said, once a Celt, always a Celt. And finally for this video, we're going to talk about Albion Ajeti. He is expected to leave the club. We've been very quiet on him, haven't we? There's not been much said. I think at the start of the window, he's one of those players that everybody jumped to saying, like, oh, he will leave. He's got to go. Surely Ange is in the process of moving him out. But we've not heard an awful lot at all in regards to Ajeti. He's just kind of been in the background, played a couple of the pre-season games as well. But he'll be looking to kind of kickstart his career again. He's only 25, but his career's been at a standstill for a good 3 or 4 years now since the field move to West Ham, and the field move to Celtic, of course, started off so strong with us, but just never managed to get it going again. It looks as though he could be off to Spain. There's reports suggesting that Racing Santander are ready to table an offer. He's apparently got interest from other clubs too. However, nothing concrete has came in yet to Celtic, but with a week to go, you'd imagine Celtic will be doing their best to look for cut price offers, try and get him out of the club. I think this is another player just like Jullien, where understandably the board and the management will be very much understanding of losing out. We paid £4.5 million for him. There's no way we're going to recoup anything towards that. They'll try their best to get money, but I think realistically, if push comes to shove, we're going to try and get him out the door this week, and we're going to take whatever we can get, to be honest. But he could be off. It looks as though he might be off if the interest there is, but he's never going to get in the team again ahead of Furuhashi and Giacomakis. So it looks as though that could be the end for him. 9 goals in 48 appearances for the club. Not a great record, is it? It's a shame because I really wanted Ajeti. Well, you remember I was championing for the signing of Albion Ajeti back in 2020. Just didn't work out, sadly, and that happens with some players. But we'll wait and see what happens over the next week. Right, that does it. I said a short transfer update, and I feel like I've spoke longer on this video than I have in any video for the last couple of weeks. So I'll let you go. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow for the live stream, the exciting Champions League draw. Hopefully PSV will be joining us. So yeah, make sure and keep an eye out for that, right? Cheerio. See you next time.